My name is Ralph Baker. I live in the neighborhood, and I used to run a travel basketball team called the New York Stock Exchange. We used to play basketball and teach kids how to pick stocks. So to be on the team, you have to learn about the stock market and the economy, and so I documented a lot of stuff the kids learned about stocks and the economy and the basketball tournaments and so on and so forth. And so we actually documented the financial crisis right before it happened. We were tracking the economy for like 6 summers. So I wrote a book about it. It's called Shock Exchange. Inner city kids from Brooklyn predicted the Great Recession and the plan ahead. Probably one of the first. I wrote it and published it myself. My second time in history. It's been independently published books that have been reviewed by a major book reviewer, reviewed by Library Journal. Now I thought it'd become a big deal, and apparently it has, because people are repeating concepts out of the book, but not citing the source. But anyway, the life of an artist. So I'm going to read a couple passages. I actually grew up in Virginia. I'm not from New York. I actually grew up in Virginia. I'll read a couple passages from the book that people apparently like. So the first passage is about my grandmother, how she disciplined my older cousins when they got out of line. Okay, here goes. We'd also witnessed some of the beatings she delivered to my older cousins. She did not tolerate laziness or insubordination. She also had a thing about lying and putting your hands on something that didn't belong to you. She would threaten my cousins, one in particular, "You going to the pen." I'm thinking, like, what pen? The pig pen? And why would you be sent to the pig pen for being a big liar? I was also too young to understand she was fixated on keeping her grandchildren out of the pen. Whenever somebody broke one of her rules, you knew the penalty, the switch. She would make you go into the woods and pick your own. Now, there was a strategy to this. The bigger the switch, the more stable it was, the more it would hurt, and the longer the beating would last. However, if you did not get a big enough switch, Grandma would make Mr. Allen, the man she would marry later in life, go get one. And he would come back with an entire tree branch. Once my cousin returned with the switch, Grandma would examine it for length, thickness, and flexibility. Mr. Allen would add his 2 cents, and no matter how long or thick the switch was, he always felt it was inadequate. Once the switch had passed inspection, the beating would begin. After hearing, never seeing, what took place next, that was the best advertisement Grandma needed as to what happened when you crossed her. I'm not sure you can. Nice. I'm not sure you can do that these days, but one of those life lessons. And so I actually played basketball growing up. I played small college back in the 80s. I was a Division III All-American, small college. You know how big America is? Big place, right? From the Gulf Stream waters to the redwood forest. So you know how nice I am. All right. So this is one of the scenes from Grandma's house growing up playing basketball. Okay. So when the meeting with the student was over, the guy would come down to the basketball court. After making small talk, my cousin Skippy and I would break into our little 2-man ruse. Skippy would challenge him to a game of HORSE against me. Now, the entire time, I would be standing around playing the shy kid. At age 10 or 11, I was small for my age, so I looked like I was around 7 or 8. My first 6 shots were always scripted. I would start the game off with layups with either hand or a shot from behind the backboard. After a series of warm-up shots, it was on to the serious stuff. I would walk outside to about 18 and 20 feet away, and I would see dude's eyes widen, like he was in disbelief or something. My cousin would scream out, "Set shot from the top of the key. Jump hook from the wing or a sky hook from the corner." Like a cold-blooded assassin, I would start burying shots. It was like a human video game. My cousins Skippy, Kim, and Chucky called out the shots and me responded. The guy would look all incredulous, like it seemed as if the shots were luck, like I was simply throwing the ball at the basket. If he refused to go quietly, my cousin would scream out, "All net," which meant the shot had to go straight in without hitting the rim. After it was all over, I would walk off, never making eye contact with the shooter. Everyone would remain quiet like this was an uncommon occurrence or something. And of course, the boy would beg for a rematch and complain about having an off day or something. 5 games and 50 cents later, the guy would acquiesce and admit to having an off day. After the shooter pulled out of the driveway and the coast was clear, we would all roll around the ground from laughing so hard. The mere thought that some fool could actually beat me in a game of horse in my own backyard, no less. had us in hysterics. Skippy and I would walk to the store with our winnings and buy a bag of candy. We would come back to Grandma to share with the rest of the kids. But it was all good with the suitors, though. Although it was hard to break into our family, it was nearly impossible to get out. Once they had been vetted by the process, they were our boyfriends from then on. I have a website. It's called NewYorkShockExchange.com. NEWYORCKEXCHANGE.com. Also have a podcast. It's called Trump and the Global Economy. It's called Trump and the G for short on YouTube. So if you get a chance to subscribe to it now, we talk about, it's not affiliated with Trump. We started with Trump in office, but we bring politicians, activists, economists, pollsters, entrepreneurs, and we talk about the economy and all things important to the black community. So if you get a chance to, this video will be up on Trump and the G probably next week of me performing. But if you get a chance, subscribe to the channel and share the information. Thank you. Yeah.
Woo! Thank you for sharing, guys. Go out and buy this gentleman's book. He's doing some good things, some great things.